Welcome to the Magnet Pool, where we dive into Miami-Dade County's most exciting and innovative magnet programs that truly makes Miami-Dade County Public Schools your best choice. I am your host, LaRonda Donaldson, District Director in the Office of Innovation and Advancement, and today we are taking learning to a new height. We are introducing SpaceHUB, a one-of-its-kind aerospace magnet program that is really new to our district, and it's developing in collaboration with Space Florida Academy. This innovative program is designed to prepare the next generation of aerospace professionals, whether it's through hands-on learning, advanced coursework, industry certifications, and even access to fully functioning planetariums, which are on campus. Today, joining us is Juan Ramirez, principal at Hialeah Miami Lakes Senior High School, and Michelle Simon, magnet lead teacher, also at Miami Lakes Senior High School, where SpaceHUB has already launched. And we have Christopher Pardo, assistant principal at Booker T. Washington, where we will welcome the first cohort in fall of 2026. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So let's start with the big picture. SpaceHUB is not just a new program. It also represents something completely different, a new way of thinking about preparing students for our future. So I just have a few questions for you about SpaceHUB. What is it, and what makes it such a groundbreaking addition to a magnet portfolio? And we'll start with Hialeah Miami Lakes.
I love to say infinity and beyond. We are actually bringing it to the forefront to our students. What I love about MDCPS and HML in particular is that we're a traditional high school. So it's not like a student has to have the physical science or the biology or the scores. Every single child will be accepted into this magnet. And we are talking about putting them in innovative labs where they're going to be drilling with drills. It's almost that project-based learning with the space as the ultimate frontier. And we'll get into it as we keep going, exactly what that looks like in each of our five strands.
So being one of the first schools to launch SpaceHUB, right? Tell me what it's been like bringing it to life this year.
It's been a challenge. It's been a challenge, growing pains, construction, coordinating, delivery of materials, these innovative space, state-of-the-art, technical workplaces that we offer our students. It's been a challenge.
Agreed 100%. He went to infinity and beyond, and I'm going to go with, we're boldly going where no one's gone before, right? So the curriculum, the innovation, the new technologies that have to be integrated into our programs require expertise, technical training, certifications, and all of that has been what we have been building with our first cohort, and we're very excited with where we're going with this.
Well, great. So, Christopher, so as you prepare to welcome your first cohort, what excites you most about SpaceHUB?
So, to begin with, we've had a lot of field trips coming from the middle schools in the last year. And the moment you open that planetarium, because we've had the first planetarium in the South, their eyes light up and it's like they walked into Disney World. They're like, wow, they never expected this planetarium on this school campus. Moving forward with our first cohort, it's a blessing. In August is our 100-year centennial. Booker T. So we call it the historic Booker T. Washington Senior High School. So we're celebrating 100 years in August, and now we get a first cohort of our SpaceHUB. So not only are we, paying homage to the past, because in 1963 we did have our own Hidden Figure alumni. She worked for General Electric and for NASA. But now we're building a future cohort to follow those footsteps all these years later. So we're really excited.
Wow. That is exciting for the historic Booker T. Washington. Put some respect on your name.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's take families inside the program because it goes far beyond a traditional classroom experience. Let's talk a little bit about that. So HML, walk us through the tracks you're currently offering and what students can expect within these pathways.
So we have 5 different tracks, and Ms. Simone can go into detail. And essentially, again, not to, but we also have an astronaut that our planetarium is named after, Ken Mattingly. So again, bridging that past with the future, we're immersing that at HML. Going back to your specific question, is giving the kids the background in robotics, in engineering, in aerodynamics, so that way they can leave HML with that certification to go right into, whether it's Lockheed Martin, whether it's going to Space Florida and pursuing additional certifications that route. They already have that first set of certification for us. And Ms. Simone can go into the specifics of our 5 tracks.
Right. So we have the aerospace robotics, we have the aerospace applied engineering, we have systems coding, we even have aerospace electrical systems. So within these first tracks, this first group of students had like a survey of all of the different strands where they had experience into designing, coding, competing in drone competitions, programming drones, and just to have a feel for where they want to be. And as we move forward, they're going into their specific strand that has the industry certification with it, whether it's the Java, the Python, the Adobe designs that go into it. It's not just the building. They're soldering, they're building from the ground up. So they're designing, they're soldering, and this is all started already with the first cohort. And as we continue, we develop.
Yeah, that's interesting to know, because when you say SpaceHUB, a lot of time family think, oh, my son doesn't want to be an astronaut, or my daughter don't want to be launched to the moon.
And it's part of educating. It's educating the families that, no, your child's not going to be an astronaut, but there's logistics there.
Yes.
We have to do 7 screws that are going to go on this Artemis rocket ship, but they have to have specific specs in order to go. If not, those 3 or 7 screws will throw off that launch. So it's letting them know there might be someone that has to do the coding, because it's when you send someone to space, there's a lot of technology there. Exactly. So it's all that coding behind. So it's not that they're going to be an astronaut. Exactly. There is a lot that goes into that pipeline of those jobs, and that's where the partnership with the state, with Space Force, getting these fundings to make sure that we have the track for straight from high school to a job, or moving on to higher education if that's what the students want to do.
That's good to know. I think I appreciate you clarifying that for parents, because the first time I say SpaceHUB, they think, oh, astronaut. And it's so much more than that. So now to the historic Booker T. Washington. All right. So you will be launching the applied robotics, aerospace technology, and aerospace manufacturing. So tell me a little bit about what makes these pathways so exciting.
So to the point of Mr. Ramirez, it's educating the parents on all the possibilities working within this industry. Mm-hmm. It's just not going into space and being an astronaut. So when we talk about applied robotics, how cool is it for a student to code a robotic arm to do specific things in the classroom, right? If we're talking about technology, how to write code for multiple different things for drones. We talked about drones. We do have a drone program as well, which we're going to be implementing to our SpaceHUB program. Racing drones. Having kids exposed to this type of technology, and manufacturing, taking 3D ideas, using 3D printers to build these ideas. And, many times in these industries, their idea comes from they put it on a 2D, 3D program, and they build it from a 3D printer to see if it actually works, right? They're not going to spend millions of dollars on this titanium piece. Let me try it first with this 3D printer, and let's see if it can function, and then we can scale it up to something more expensive. So we're giving these kids, and again, these certifications, opportunities to leave high school with high-paying jobs. Mm-hmm. Opportunities to leave high school working for amazing companies. You mentioned Blue Origin, SpaceX, Lockheed Martin, all these aviation companies. They need workers, and we can provide it. We're in the state of Florida. Space Florida is all about, creating these job opportunities. And what better way for these students who they don't know it yet, but they already have those skills. They have those skills either by playing video games, but they have the skills if we just got to direct them in the right spot, and their future's unlimited.
And you have an advantage, because you have one of the best teachers that is already doing amazing things at your school with the engineering and design.
Absolutely. We have Dr. Badoku, who's doing amazing things. He's very adept at using these large scale tools. And like I said, we have a coding teacher who's using the drones, and we're going to just slide that in there and build this from the ground up for this cohort, so they can just, not only learn, but have fun doing it at the same time.
And the excitement at your school is contagious about this program.
No, and I think what goes back is just igniting that interest, because like Chris said, it's okay. You're already doing it. It's just you didn't know that you can make a living off of this. We are at the cutting edge, and all these companies are in our backyards.
Yes.
They don't, if they choose to leave to go to up to Cape Canaveral, but they can stay right here in their backyard, because all of those companies are right here in our backyard.
Yes,
Multiple pathways. We're exposing them to multiple pathways,
and that's awesome. One of the exciting features at both your school is the fully functioning planetariums that you guys have. Now that is unique, and not every school has a planetarium. So with that being said, what does it mean for students to have access to a planetarium as part of their everyday learning? And we're going to go ahead with the historic book.
So, firsthand, when we had these eighth graders come and experience that, was amazing. But let's talk about SpaceHUB, right? What better way for students to talk about theoretical orbital tracks to then be immersed in a planetarium where that orbital track is happening around them, right? Exactly. It's that putting them in the middle of what's happening. Be talking about astronomy, orbital tracks, a launch, anything like that. It's powerful. It's not just a screen in front of them. It's not just a textbook. It's just not a video clip on YouTube. It is now literally all around them. So that is extremely powerful for these students.
And HML team, you have anything to add?
I think he touched upon the idea that we go from the theoretical to the practical to the real world immersion. It opens up, it's a gateway of opportunities for our students, and they don't have to leave campus. It's all right there, including we bring in younger students into the building. They get exposed to this planetarium. They ignite their interest in STEM, the field of the science, and that they didn't know they had access to before. So we are opening up new frontiers.
And like Prado said, you're like light year. It's a space concept. But then when you immerse them inside of the planetarium, it's like, okay, this is what a light year looks like. And you sit in and they start understanding these distances in the planetarium.
Exactly. So tell me, and we'll go with HML on this one, what kind of skills are students developing through SpaceHUB? I know you told me a lot of logistics, but can you expand on that a little bit, please?
Okay, so when we talk about the field of aviation, of aerospace aviation, it's not just aerospace aviation. There's the construction behind the scenes. There's when we say logistics, moving products from one end to another. It's the supply chain that has to go into place. It's a whole ecosystem. It's an aerospace ecosystem that needs all the players in place for it to function. So for that Artemis to take off, we need our students to be able to code. We need our students to work on the HVAC. We need our students able to work with the semiconductors and the conduits, and they need to be able to program. So it's all behind the scenes.
I know you both have touched on the certifications, but I want to talk a little bit about that, the industry certifications. So you said to me that when they leave, they have the ability to be ready for the job, the workforce. So what are some of the certifications that, they can earn? And we'll start with HML, and then the same question for you.
So there's Adobe certifications that are required in the field. There's Java, there's Python, there's Python C++. There's all of these specific industry certifications that go into entry-level jobs that are high-paying, high-demand jobs, and our students will have a step up. So even if they want to go on and pursue a career at a university, it's also a networking situation for them. It's also, they have an advantage on their resumes. They have an advantage that already has some background experience. In fact, they're using some of the machinery that they're using at the universities. FIU engineering comes into the building, works with our coding teacher and our robotics teacher. So it's this connection between the field with everything that's happening. So.
Okay.
So, to add, same thing with the coding, also manufacturing certificates, gets them ready to be at a job. And once they get there, that job gives them the opportunity to get higher degrees, right? So not only are they getting paid, but now that job is, that company is letting them get a bachelor's, get a master's on their dime. And what better way to get that if someone else is paying for it, right? Along the route of all this coding, the other skills that they're learning is this space-ready professionalism, right? Every job has a type of professionalism. And when we talk about space, when we talk about aerospace, sometimes a problem comes up and they need to solve it in 2 minutes, in 5 minutes. So they're learning how to problem solve in real time, right? They don't have a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They need answers now, and they need to learn how to organize themselves and how to work in that capacity. So that's also a unofficial training ground for them to work that way.
So as a parent, if I wanted to say, okay, my kid, from the day my child was born, he was going to college, my alma mater, can he still be on the track to go to college, or is it just to go into the workforce?
100%. 100%. We have partnerships in the state of Florida, with the University of Florida, with UCF, with FIU, with USF, Miami-Dade College.
Miami-Dade North now has a brand new state-of-the-art aerodynamics building that eventually our kids will be taking those dual enrollment either on campus with a certified teacher or be going over to the Miami-Dade North, so that way they can continue with that. And just to piggyback on something that Chris has brought up, it's the soft skills. We're teaching the soft skills. So even if your child doesn't want to become an astronaut or go into Space Force, they can go to university because they know how to communicate with a colleague. They were working on a project that they had to figure out. This drone did not go over this little hill, or this robot didn't. How can we make it go over the hill? And no, but I think this is the best. No, but I think this is the best way. No, let's come up to how we can do it together. So teaching the students those soft skills, that the further that we get away from COVID and seeing everybody in a little bit, the more it's coming back to the schoolhouse.
So this is really about building a pipeline, and not just to college, but to careers and ultimately in the future.
Absolutely.
So I just have a few more questions and we'll be finished. But for Booker T, why is now the right time to introduce a program like SpaceHUB?
I think that's a great question. Why not at 100 years? Why not give this community an opportunity to move in a different direction? Why not tell them you can too? You can do anything anybody else can if you put the time, the effort, the grit, and the perseverance. And we can see those fruits of your labors immediately. We don't have to wait till you get to college. We can see it from 9th grade to 10th grade, from 11th grade to 12th grade, And it's funny about these jobs around Booker T, we're in the downtown area. These Waymo cars are, I don't know if you've seen the Waymo, the autonomous cars.
Yes.
This is also a pipeline to work with them.
Yes.
Because they need engineers, they need coders, they need people who know how to fix these cars. And I've seen those cars multiply from 5 to 15. Now they're all over the place, right? So why not give this community the opportunity to be the best that they can?
And so for HML, how are you seeing student interest evolve when it comes to STEAM, technology, and aerospace?
Okay, well, just being introduced with this beautiful learning environment, it actually, students who didn't know they were into the whole science technology aspect, but they're now in this classroom. Oh my God, this is such a beautiful setting. Oh my gosh, look at these drones. Look at these computers. Look at this robot. I can work with this. I can do something with this. And it just sparks that interest. Just being exposed to it goes anywhere from 50 to 80% increase in student success, in their involvement in the STEAM field.
And at times it's scary as a principal because you are giving drills and you're giving to 9th graders that are 8th grade plus a summer. And we have to go over safety and how to properly use a tool and
safety protocols.
So, preparing them for the real world. You're going to have these protocols at your work, but it is igniting. And we've had the luxury of bringing in, I do have the biggest feeder pattern in all of Dade County Public School. I have 13 schools, including HMO, that are in my feeder pattern. So I've brought in the elementary because I want to see the elementary students being at HMO. So we've brought as young as fifth graders into HMO so they have exposed and say, oh, wow, this is neat. This is cool. I want to come to HMO. I want to be a Trojan.
All right, so our time is coming to an end, but I do have one important question for both of you. I would like to know, what is your magnet pull? What makes SpaceHUB and your school the best choice for students and families? Let's start with HML.
It's completely free. It is your community school. It is they can come here and do whatever they like, whether it's going to Harvard, whether it's going straight to the workforce, they're going to be exposed to it at HMO.
So for us at Booker T. Washington Senior High School, it's just more than curriculum. It's a promise for upward mobility, and it's a promise to really have a historic impact on your life. So we talked about, I began this section, 100 years. Let's talk about 100 years going forward for Booker T. Washington Senior High School.
All right. So I want to thank you both for joining us today. And a big thank you to our listeners and viewers, as well as Miami Community News for their partnership in bringing the stories of our schools to the community, stories of our schools to the community. To our families listening, remember that Miami-Dade County Public Schools offers hundreds of magnet programs across the district, and right now families can still apply through our open seats magnet applications. Please stay connected and never miss an opportunity by following us on social media at Miami Magnets. This is it for this episode of the Magnet Pool. Keep being drawn to what inspires you, and we'll see you next time.